NLP, so Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Let's dive into that. I would love any and all perspectives. Again, be helpful to define terms for those who aren't familiar.
Well, NLP, where do I start? I mean, it's a bag o' stuff, as us psychologists would refer to it. It's lots of different ideas. It isn't one thing. I've heard NLP referred to as nothing like psychology, and there is maybe some truth to that for some parts of it. So I think some parts of it are shown to be valid. I think mirroring, where you mirror the other person's body language and in order to get rapport and so on, there's probably something to that. Some of the kind of verbal priming, I think there might be something to that. Unfortunately, there's big parts of it that are, just don't work out at all. So to get back to lying, there's this notion that if you look in a certain direction, you'll be lying, and if you look in another direction, you're telling the truth. And I can never remember which way round it is. It's like up to the left is lying and down to the right is telling the truth or something. And it's a very widely believed idea. And so a few years ago, we put it to the test. So we had a bunch of students. We asked them to go into an office and either steal a mobile phone that was in the office or to just put it into the drawer. And then they came out and they all tried to convince us they'd put it into the drawer. So some of them were lying, some of them were telling the truth. We could look at their eye movements. NLP didn't work out at all. It didn't matter where they were looking. And you might argue that's not a very, what psychologists would call ecologically valid task, i.e. it's an artificial task. So we then went to look at these very public kind of press conferences that the police hold, sometimes in the UK, when there's been a missing persons case where relatives come on and appeal for the missing person. In some instances, it turns out that the person doing the appeal is the person who's guilty of the crime. So we know those people are lying during that press conference. Equally, we know in many of the press conferences, the people were telling the truth and it was a genuine appeal. So again, we could look at the eye movements. Again, we did it. No indication at all, no hint that this idea that certain eye movements are associated with lying or telling the truth. So it's very important with all of these ideas about psychology is to put them to the test, because otherwise you might be, using some kind of tip or technique that's got no validity at all. And with lying, it really matters.
So NLP then, net, I don't know what the sort of purported applications are of NLP, but would you say kind of safe discard in terms of paying attention to it as a developable skill?
No, I would say think about what you're trying to do. Think about what the practitioners are telling you, and then look at the academic literature to see if it holds water. If it's a really important thing, like whether someone's telling the truth or lying, if you're just having fun, what does it matter? But yes, if it's important, then I would always fall back on the academic work, because it's not just NLP. There are so many things out there which everybody does based on psychology, and actually the academic work doesn't underpin it. So brainstorming, for example. Terrible idea. Let's all get together and kick around an idea and come up with new ideas. It doesn't work. It's not particularly effective. What's far more effective is that everyone thinks of 3 ideas, 3 solutions to the problem before they go into the room, and you go around the group and everyone mentions their 3 ideas. Because that way you don't get an individual dominating the group and certain ideas not getting a hearing. So again, it's just really important, I think, to go, hold on a second. If this matters, if this is important, what's the evidence? Which was underpinned by the 59 Seconds book.